And welcome to Motors for the Masses Grand Tour Reviews episode 2, and this week they are in New York with the new Ford GT40 with one of their epic races. So let's see if it is epic this week, shall we? Now, to start with, the introduction they did with the GT40 going into New York City was very reminiscent of season 16 of Top Gear, in actual fact, when they had a three-way race with 3 supercars through New York City. Again, Amazon have done some really good camera angles of the back of the engine and down the side and overhead, but they did all that in Top Gear too. So I'm hoping it's not going to be a rerun of Top Gear. Is that a bad thing? I have to say though, I do love these doors, very similar to that of the McLaren. A bit sort of scissor meets gullwing. I am liking those.
Rather than out. And you can get inside even if you have a head.
And quite a cool feature it has is that you can adjust the steering wheel and then adjust your pedals rather than an adjustable seat. So the seat is static, but the pedals move forward and back. I quite like that. However, I wonder if that went faulty and you put your foot down and it shot backwards. Could be interesting. And of course they're straight in there as usual with the misbehaviour. Jeremy Clarkson rings up the airline and says that they accidentally booked Hammond and May into business class and they need to put them into economy class because that's not company policy to put them in business class. So he's all excited about his little joke, and then James May, who's supposed to be caring for Hammond, is just basically going, oh, there's some steps there, come on, be careful, hurry up, come on, come on. It's quite amusing.
World's clumsiest driver stuck in a barrier.
See what I mean? £400,000 that car.
Meanwhile, Hammond was heading for the next subway train with the help of Captain Compassionate. Come on, come on, come on! Come on! Come on!
Love it.
That's gone then, yeah. Well, what happened there is basically we missed the train because you don't know to slow down when it says finish across the road. Sorry to put it bluntly like that, but that's exactly what happened there.
That is exactly what happened. I'm glad they highlighted it here. Fantastic. I was right. Why didn't he slow down?
The GT had some space to stretch it.
Now, something that Jeremy mentions here, which I completely agree, this has a V6, not a V8. And I'm sorry, but a Ford GT should have that massive rumbling V8 sound, not a V6 sound. Now, I'm not really heading into Mustang territory here because that's a whole different argument. And obviously Mustang started with a V6, V8, blah blah blah, muscle car. I'm not going to get down that debate ever again. But this car is different. It's got an EcoBoost V6 and it should have a V8. I'm sorry, it just should. I'm sorry, but I need to share this with you because the inner child in me finds this equally as funny as Jeremy Clarkson does. Have a listen.
I've got to call May, see how they're doing.
Who would you like to call?
Vagina. I've had to change his name in my contacts. It's not normally Vagina. It's worse than that.
Hello, it's me.
Now, I just want to draw your attention to the design of this car for a second. Now, as you can see here, look, the car angles around as if it goes to nothing. And then you've got this bit down here and the bit along the back here and this just wheel arch that looks independent of the rest of the car. It looks like a car that's been put into a separate shell. It's a bit odd, I think. It's quite unique, and from the side you can't notice it. From this angle, very strange looking. It's not ugly, it's just a bit odd. Now, I know I have to mention that I said GT40 at the beginning. Well, it is a GT40, isn't it? Ford GT, GT40, it's the continuation of the same thing, so whatever. But anyway, one thing I would like to add is the format that they're doing this in. Now, they've done for many years Jeremy Clarkson in a car, James and Richard on a bus or plane or public transport, whatever, and you've always got the same thing where Jeremy's in there shouting power and making silly phone calls and winding people up, and you've got James and Richard who are always getting on each other's nerves, and one of them wants to go a bit faster, one wants to go slower, one's causing them to be distracted or delayed, and it's just the same format every time. Mix it up a bit, Amazon, or Jeremy, Richard and James. Mix it up a bit. Perhaps Richard and Jeremy can do public transport and James drive the car, or Richard drive the car and Jeremy and James can do the public transport. That would be much more funny. Much more funny? Much funnier? You know what I mean? Certainly than the same old format again. What do you think? Now, at the end of that film, Jeremy made another phone call to the airline, and they keep putting in subtle hints as to who the airline is, JetBlue, because they put it on his TV screen on the phone and on the back of the pushchair thing, or the wheelchair that May is pushing Hammond in. And they made a phone call to say, can I make another request? They've just come out of rehab, so please can the stewardesses or the stewards not give them any alcohol. Ha ha ha, chortle chortle. Not as funny as one might think, but quite amusing, I suppose, is it? Nice to see they're stepping on the edge of trouble again. They're talking about sex robots, and Hammond made a comment about it being people from Essex, and there was someone from Essex in the audience, and nice to see they're stepping on the toes there. And there also a comment about the BLT, when they actually meant the lesbian and gay thing, LGBT. So I think maybe there's going to be some complaints. Of course there's going to be some complaints. Will they care? I very much doubt it.
Put him at the bottom of Death Road and say, right, sit in it.
So they're on to Conversation Street, and they're talking about autonomous cars. Now, people have been talking about this for years, and they think they're close to autonomous cars, but as James said, he doesn't think, and Jeremy agrees, they don't think that we will see any form of reliable autonomous car whilst we're still alive. I don't know, what do you think? I mean, I think, yes, they're in development, but there's so many flaws and potential pitfalls in this that I'm hoping they stay away for a very long time. But something I did mention, which was quite funny, is that they were talking about sponsorship and things like that, and obviously Jeremy's erring on the side of extortion there, but James suggested, why don't they put advertising on the bottom of Richard Hammond's cars, because most of the time they're upside down. That's a good idea. So next they're on to the Mercedes AMG Gtr, and this is a stunning looking car, and as Jeremy points out, it looks like it's been designed by people that have been desperate to design a car for years. It's absolutely bonkers looking. I absolutely love it, and what I'm really impressed with is how they've made this video. The introduction is superb. The camera angles, the music they use, it is superb. In fact, I'm going to rewind and show you. Now, something that Jeremy pointed out there is that the engine in this GTR is the same engine as they put in the V8 E-Class Merc, but the E-Class Merc has 23 more horsepower than this one. So why is there a 600 brake horsepower engine in the E-Class and only a 577 brake horsepower V8 twin turbo in that? Doesn't make sense really, does it? However, of course it is completely bonkers, but not too bonkers, because it's got a variable traction control that you can turn off a bit and a lot. There's like a variable dial on it, and as he says, Mercedes are designed to go sideways in a lot of smoke, and this doesn't. It just really hunkers down and sticks to the corner. It's even got like this balloon thing that comes out and forces air down, so it hunkers the back end down. Okay, too much technology. This is why I love my Mustang, because you can just launch it even with the traction control fully on. Sideways, straight, and it still spins the wheels and drifts and God knows what. So, you know, sometimes if you pull out of a junction with the traction control on, it'll let you drift and then cut the power whilst you're sideways. So you just drift nicely and then off you go. Brilliant. Now that is what traction control should do. Let you have fun, but not let you die. What I did notice is whilst Jeremy was taking the car around the track, there was some advertising on the advertise your car advertisement corner. And he read it out as he went round. He's obviously contractually obliged to read out the advert. He did it in quite an amusing way, but it just shows what they're all about. Money and advertising. Just make a car program, please! Now they're touching on something here that we all thought about last year, or at least I did and a lot of people I spoke to. The American. Thankfully he's not back because nobody liked him. He was annoying, pathetic, obnoxious and an idiot, basically. Sorry, just was. So have a listen to what they say.
To buy a shouty lime green car that looks mad but actually isn't, then you'll probably want to know how fast it goes around our Ebola drone.
Yeah, well, last year that would have meant handing it over to the American. But we're not using him anymore because he didn't like coming to England.
And because you all hated him.
Well, that too.
So they've got a new driver, and it isn't any of the Formula 1 or stunt or rally drivers they've been interviewing over their little video clips as teasers. It's a woman, and she seems to drive very, very well. And oh, she's got lovely eyes as well. Can't see her face, I don't know if they're doing that on purpose, but she's got lovely eyes. Very nice. Anyway, moving on. Next they have their celebrity face-off, and they've got these two, a Brian and a Kevin. Play baseball and cricket. I've never heard of either of them. I'm sure they're great at what they do, but they're not really celebrities, are they? Well, not to me anyway, I've never heard of them. Have you? He looks like Timmy Mallet. Well, as we all know, anything that's back end out and slidey is usually slower than the smooth through the corners route, and this has proven the point. Unfortunately the American lost by 0.3 of a second, very close, but his lap looked much more fun. It certainly did. He was drifting around some of the corners, really slinging the back end out, and that's the way I would like to go around the corner. None of this smooth through the corners thing. I want to just get the back end out. Mind you, having said that, I'd probably do a good few slidey back ends drifting around the corners and then do a smooth one as the fast one. So 9 slidey ones and 1 quick one. That'll do. So they're back in their race, and Jeremy is saying that in America the traffic is quite appalling and people just seem to sit in a lane. There's no lane discipline, so he's weaving in and out of the traffic because undertaking is allowed there. And meanwhile James and Hammond are edging a little bit forward, and what I found quite amusing is how they put him in the wheelchair when he gets to wherever they're going. Buffalo, is it? Oh, I can't remember now.
Blimey. Yeah, that is... I am safe.
Incident. There's been an accident. There's the problem.
Ooh, nasty. Okay, this has made my day. One of my favourite words. He's programmed obviously the names of the other presenters into his car, so as we said before, James May is vagina and this is Richard.
Hey!
Wait for it.
Trump enthusiast has pulled over.
Right, let's find out where he is.
It's Mr. Bell and Hammond. Where are you?
Now I don't know if this is James being funny or if it's part of the TV, but it just seemed really genuine and really, he seemed pretty pissed off. Look.
Who pulled the... Where's the bus? Can we move to
Nobody else pull the string until we've got off, please.
Let's just go all the way.
Brilliant. So that's it. Come to the end of that episode, and of course Jeremy won in the car. Never really changes, does it? And that is it for the end of this review. We'll be back again soon. In fact, this Sunday we're filming with a 200-mile-an-hour Bentley, so watch out for that video coming soon. And also our 5,000 subscriber giveaway is coming this weekend as well. And we'll be back next week with another Grand Tour review and with the new Jaguar F-Pace. And then coming in the new year we have a brand new Ford Mustang GT350, so please watch out for that, as well as of course Project Hybrid 400 Honda Supersport from 1978, Cafe Racer Scrambler build, so watch out for that. Until then, please remember to ride and drive carefully, but have fun. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.